Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable and happy Monday. I'm Vanessa Collins here with Ted Ings and Katrina Ness. Now, AI is changing fixed ops fast, but are dealers chasing the hype instead of the results? Today, we're joined by Dave Perry and Ashley Norton from BLiNK AI to talk about how to cut through the noise and make AI actually work in the service lane. So welcome, Ashley and Dave. Thank you so much for being here.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, great to be with you again.
Dave, I'm very impressed with this team. Ashley and Katrina and Vanessa, you know, they're becoming the first string team. So
That's right. And I think they should be, actually. They got a lot to say. And they did such a great job at that event that we did out in Sacramento, the pop-up event out at the Nelo Group. Wow, I was just super amazed. So good job. All of you.
They did a great job.
It's always so great to see you both in person and run into you guys at the hotel and at the newest Porsche dealership in America.
That was an amazing event, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
Look at this crew we got coming in here. We got some Northwood people coming in tonight, Katrina.
Yep. We have Alexander Mazon and we have Brooke Engelhart, two of some of Vanessa and I's favorite people at Northwood, and rock star students themselves.
Yeah, amazing talent. So, and you guys do a great job at Northwood also. You got something coming up there pretty soon in the fall, right, Katrina?
We do. We have our International Auto Show that's 100% run by students. So we start planning for that the one before it ends in the fall and all the way through the year. So it's coming up and summer's coming around the corner. And then September 18th through the 21st, which is the weekend of the show, is going to be here like that.
What do you guys do during the summer? Do you stay at school or?
We don't. A lot of us work internships. So we have pretty busy schedules while trying to, manage the auto show and everything still. But we do work on it. We have, Teams calls and planning happening. And then we're all around the country doing our internships. So it's a lot of everything.
Awesome. In fact, you're going to be not just around the country, but you got a special trip coming up, I think, in about a week or so.
Yep. Vanessa, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so Katrina and I, as well as Alexander Mazon and Brooke Engelhart, who were there in the chat, we are heading to Sri Lanka for a competition called NU Cars, or New Cars. And it's a super exciting, automotive-based competition. And we verse different schools from around the country, countries like China, the Sri Lankan students as well, Russia, it's very diverse, and we're not even competing as a team. So it's not Northwood versus the other schools. When we get there, we're actually getting mixed into groups so that it's very, diverse. And yeah, it's going to be super exciting. We're there for a while. We're there for, I believe, 9 days, 25-hour flight. But we are so beyond grateful for the opportunity and excited, and it's just going to be amazing. I mean, I've never been truly out of the country besides to Canada. And so being able, my first time going out, to go all the way to India, right under India, is kind of crazy. So
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Ashley, have you been there?
I have not. No. Dave's sending me there next month, it turns out. He didn't know.
I love it.
You're going to like an office.
That's going to be fast. Dave, that's got to be at any age, let alone, these young ladies, to be able to go and do something like that at this point before they even graduate school.
No, it's an amazing thing. And you find out when you start traveling like that, the world is a much smaller place than you can ever imagine. And you'll develop friendships there with people that you'll be spending the rest of your professional career, engaged with. And so that's really an amazing opportunity. Congrats to both of you.
Thank you. And we'll let you know if there's any dealer customers out there that are interested, and we'll send them
I'm
your
sure you will.
Naturally.
A whole new market. And Linda Hansen, good evening in the chat. We'll see you on Wednesday night here on the show. By the way, Vanessa, are you guys going to give us reports from Sri Lanka, here on the roundtable?
Absolutely. We have to film a little bit of content while we're out there. So we'll definitely give you guys updates on how our trip is going, on our travels, and we will keep all of our friends at the roundtable updated. So be sure to stay tuned on our socials. We are leaving April 4th, and we will be there for 9 days after that. So stay tuned.
Okay. Well, tonight's show is all about Dave Perry and BLiNK AI Automotive and Ashley Norton and the great work that they are doing. As you heard, they were just out to see us at Tully's dealership at the big pop-up event that was in Sacramento. And very impressive, Dave, the caliber of employees at Nelo. I don't know if you want to speak to that, but I certainly learned a lot and got a lot out of that event.
I'll tell you, you got to rub shoulders with a lot of really talented and interesting people there. And, people that have never done an event like that can't necessarily appreciate how much downtime there is. And you see the people waiting in the stands there, the audience, so to speak. And during those sessions and in between the recordings and so forth like that, we had a great opportunity to meet a lot of other people in the business and with other dealerships, and in particular, a lot of the Nelo employees. And man, they're just all rock stars. I was so impressed.
Yeah, the culture at that organization, Dave, is really something that dealers can only strive for. Plus 104 years in business, and we just flashed a picture up there of Tully and Rick Nelo. Rick, his grandfather started the company in 1921, I believe he said, and just an amazing culture and core values they've built, and you could tell in the employees. That's what really stands out, and it made a big impression on us. So for sure.
Yeah, me too, Ted.
So Ashley, those are the dealers that we strive for with these pop-up events and the certified program. We're really proud to put that certified banner up there, right, in front of the Nelo folks, and they deserve every little bit of it.
And we are excited to announce our first 2 candidates with the next event in May. So Dave and I have already come up with a few. We just need to, button things down, and we'll get you our first 2 candidates of dealers who have been engaged with us for a long time and believe in what we do and see the results of what we do. So we're excited to get them involved in the next event.
That's one of the great things about the certified partners. They get to nominate these dealers like the Nelo company. And we find a lot of these jewels from you folks, right? That you're aware of that maybe the rest of the industry does not know of yet. So we'll get to show them off. So yeah, fantastic. Vanessa and Katrina, I know you've got some questions tonight for these folks.
Definitely. So with talking about the auto industry and being surrounded by constantly, we hear a lot of noise about AI and different perspectives and opinions about it. So my question is, what are some misconceptions that you guys are seeing in fixed ops?
Oh, that's a good one, Katrina. I'll take that first, and I think maybe Ashley can jump in on it as well. But it's just a hot topic right now, whether it be an NADA or the events that we do, webinars, things like that we do. We try to educate as much as we possibly can. But there's still this conception that AI is somehow this magic bullet that's going to solve all your problems, and you can buy it and just put it in somewhere, install it in some way in your system, and now it does all these amazing things. And that's not really the case. I mean, the technology is amazing, but it can be deployed in so many different ways inside of a dealership. But it takes work, because it really can automate to a high degree, make the dealership a lot more efficient. But like any sort of automation, you can't just put automation on a broken process or a very manually driven process. And so that's where, the dealers that really benefit the most from it focus less on the technology itself, and they focus on KPIs. What are they trying to achieve as business people? Companies like ours, like BLiNK AI, we're there to serve their interests. We're to drive their business forward. If we don't do that, and then we haven't succeeded. And so we try to make an appointment, a point to sit down with our dealerships and what are you trying to achieve? Is it, more ROs, more appointments, higher, capacity utilization, better, turnaround time, lower wait times, better customer satisfaction? Because you can't necessarily touch all of those KPIs immediately, but you need to have kind of a work plan of, where are you taking this to? How am I going to use this to increase those elements, those metrics that you're most focused on? And those cut across the entire dealership. We've identified 19 different KPIs that most dealers really are critical to the dealer success. And we believe we impact directly about 9 of those. So it's really about tuning, the automation that we help them manage along with their internal processes just to smooth it out. And once they realize that, it's like, don't worry about the AI, worry about your KPIs and hold your vendors accountable and hold us accountable. If we're not producing for you, then we need to be fired immediately. But if we are producing, let's look and see how we can continue to build out this capability and capacity that we've started on.
Yeah. And it's not just about like the word or the tool. Is it AI or does it have AI? Like, it's not just about that. I mean, are we solving actual problems? Are we solving real issues that dealerships face? And there's a lot of AI products coming out there quickly, and a lot of them are claiming voice AI and different AI spaces. But I mean, if it's not making a dent in the things that you're facing at a dealership daily, then it's just a tool, and you don't need more tools. You need more solutions. And I mean, it can be AI or it can't be AI, but it has to be a solution regardless.
Very well put.
Absolutely. Now, can you give us some like real examples where AI is solving these, like you said, real problems within dealerships, specifically where AI is making an impact in fixed ops?
Sure. Well, there's a couple that just about every dealer, it's universal, is they want more service business. And you have to decide, well, where's that service business going to come from? You have a certain amount of inbound activity today. People know they need a moment when they're trying to book that appointment. But there's inefficiencies in the current process that we can help them with. So if we can change their conversion rate on inbound appointment capture from 30%, which is typical today for most schedulers, to 70, 80, 90%, now we've basically doubled the amount of inbound appointments that get set. And in our view, appointments are so much more valuable than walk-ins. Walk-ins are great to fill in some capacities in some ways. Of course, you don't like to turn away business, but it's difficult to plan around those. How do they come in and disrupt the existing flow that you've had? And so you want to limit the number of walk-ins by capturing the people, digitally or via the phones, which we manage for most of our dealerships. And so that's one big example. But then now that you've captured the appointment, it has to convert into an RO. And then what's the value of that RO? If you've booked it smartly so that now there's not jammed up, people waiting in the waiting room, now I've got time to get the upsell opportunities that come from, new wiper blades or new air filters and that sort of thing. And you actually increase the RO value. So for most dealerships, you go and say, look, you work with us, and really month one, beginning one, this isn't something that takes 3 months to get trained. This starts working immediately. And so now you can go from whatever appointment base you are today, service volume you are today, so now you've increased it by 20 to 30%. There's not a dealer in the world that won't take that value proposition every day. And so those are the primary ones that just universal across all of our dealers.
Yeah. I mean, for me, from a marketing perspective too, the value of AI, especially marketing inside the dealership and with inside dealer groups. I mean, I've spoke to a lot of dealer marketers in the last couple of weeks, and it's just improving retention, which is huge for OEM numbers. It's huge for your group numbers, but also retention numbers as far as it relates to like the service experience and getting those Google reviews and getting your service score up, and using AI to drive your data, to drive your marketing campaigns, to even, dare I say, help you clean your data, because 90% of dealers that we work with have dirty data, and AI can help to start to streamline that and massage that data. I mean, obviously no vendor like ours can just clean your data and start deleting things, but just the value of starting to help streamline the process of cleaning up your data so that you're not wasting money on marketing campaigns, like that's huge from the marketing perspective in like from my view.
Definitely. So what KPIs does BLiNK AI focus on, Dave? I know you mentioned that you guys, identified around 19 of them. And how should dealers evaluate AI, and what should they be looking for in terms of, the KPIs that are specific and beneficial to them?
Sure. Yeah. Well, you find that they're not consistent across all dealers, right? Some dealers are higher volume dealers and they're looking for turnover, right? I want to get as many people in and out as possible. Others are high-end dealerships, just like the Porsche dealership that we were at, last week in Sacramento. There, it's a lot more about customer satisfaction. So that's why this discussion with the dealer is really important. So you sit down and you have a real clear path of, where do we focus on? Because oftentimes it's trade-off. You're trading off one parameter for another. How do you optimize that across the whole litany of things that dealers have to focus on? So if customer satisfaction is first, then you focus on that customer experience. How quickly can I come in and book an appointment? Does the system know me when I call? Do I have to make multiple calls? If I've got to call you and then call back again, or I've got to call and confirm the availability of a rental car, I can't just do that all in an automated fashion. Then you've given me you've given me a poor experience with that dealership. And so those are the kind of things that we focus on. So it will vary a bit from dealership to dealership, but it usually is focused around customer satisfaction, customer experience, volume of ROs generated, and the RO values. And the great thing about it, since we track everything, I mean, AI is a very data intensive technology. We track everything, so we can tell you very precisely how much additional value that we bring to the dealership in the form of these incremental ROs, marginal business that we bring to the dealership, and even measuring customer sat.
Dave, we have a great question from Linda. And I know we have, because I've seen the data that we've pushed out to our dealers, is how much time, or have you studied how much time is saved both for the advisors and the customers? She says during the write-up process. We don't really get involved, I guess, as much. I guess we do get involved during the write-up process because we're reducing the amount of walk-ins and the amount of time that the advisors spend doing other things than write-ups. But where we study it a lot is the amount of time saved on the phone and on the webs, for customers to try to just schedule their own appointments, and for advisors and BDCs to also work these manually.
Wow.
Linda does a great job. I don't know if you know her, Ashley, but she's in Ohio. Katrina, she came to our pop-up event that we did, and she was on a panel at Reynolds and Reynolds with us.
Oh, nice.
And she does a great job in training dealerships around the country. I know that firsthand. I've seen her train some Ford dealerships, and she's an amazing talent. So
she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would love to talk to you, Linda, because the area that you're asking about, clearly we can measure how quickly somebody books an appointment. The average appointment time for us, for the customer, is less than a minute typically, whereas it can be 4 to 5 minutes. We had someone from NADA in the training department actually call and says, we had a little experiment that we did in one of our classes about people would start on different schedulers and see who could book the appointment quicker. And it was like BLiNK AI always was number one. And why is that? Dave was very curious about that. But there's no trickery to it. It's it's one of those things that's this just trade-off of how much information do you need to be able from the customer in order to have them show up for an appointment. And if you think about if you're booking an appointment with a doctor, I mean, they could sit there and keep you on the phone for 30 minutes, quizzing you about everything, every symptom, trying to diagnose you before you got there. Or they could just make it a really simple, okay, come in, we'll do a quick check on you. We'll tell you what's wrong with you. And to tell you something exciting for us is now that we're starting to work very closely in the area of telematics. Okay. Typically, the car's going to be telling us what's wrong with it. We don't even have to ask the customer what's wrong. We can tell the customer, when they either call in or even before they call in, hey, there's something going on with your car, bring it in. We know exactly what it's going to take to get it fixed and how long it's going to take to fix it. So we're going to continue to improve this over time. It's just going to get better and better and better.
Absolutely. Dave, is it already here, or is it coming? And I imagine it's going to be like everything else. It's going to keep getting better and better over time.
Yeah,
you said.
Yeah, it always. I mean, we're always learning new things. Every discussion that we have with the dealer, we learn something new that maybe we hadn't anticipated about specific circumstances. And that's the beauty about the AI platform. The more data that you can give it, the better the decisions that it can make. And so, it's going to always get better. We think it's just rock solid today, and it's performing extremely well. And lots of our dealerships, and I'm sure there's other companies that also provide similar things that get a similar experience. But we're really proud of how it works today. But we're very anxious to continue to build it out and make it even better over time. We have a backlog of things that we'd love to do, and it's just bringing it on the right time. You have to have data availability. It's got to be data that you can use. You got to worry about privacy now. There's brand elements to this. Sometimes OEMs aren't the easiest people to work with. They've standardized around a platform that's pretty old technology that doesn't work very well, and the dealer's kind of caught. Well, what do I do? Do I go to the latest thing that works really well, or do I adhere to my brand guidelines from whichever brand of car I'm representing? And so those are some issues that we'll continue to be working on.
Linda's got a follow-up question, Dave, and I was thinking of asking this to you when we were out in Sacramento. How did you come up with the name BLiNK AI?
Well,
Dave has to answer that one. I'm way too new.
Right,
here.
actually, I know who to go to on this.
Sure, yeah. So BLiNK AI was envisioned back in the mid 2000, let's say 2015 kind of time period. And as most high-tech success stories go, it was two people that worked together. They were working, inside tech. They were developers. They were both, super smart developers. And they had this belief that, okay, AI is going to be able to help a lot of customer engagement things and be able to solve problems for customers in a blink. Okay. They didn't necessarily envision it was automotive space at that time. They were looking generally at the problem of customer engagement, customer satisfaction. And so the BLiNK AI just kind of stood out. We want to do things in a blink, much faster. And that's where the name came from. Thanks for asking about that. The co-founders will be really excited to hear that someone was asking about some of the history there.
Wow. That's incredible. And I feel like AI only came up on most people's radars, just within the past few years. And you were, worked with AI back in 2015. You were very early with it. So I feel like you're the perfect person to ask, where do you think AI is headed next? And specifically, of course, for fixed ops.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's a great question. Let me correct one thing you said. It's 2015 wasn't the old days. The old days were even going back to the 50s when people were envisioning AI. Yeah. And there was a lot of work that was done back in those days, but you got to remember, there wasn't the power of the processors then to be able to capture and compute and learn on this massive amount of data that the internet really made available to us. So I was actually working on AI systems myself in the 1980s when I was with Texas Instruments. If you recall, products like the Speak and Spell, which it was voice recognition back in the 1980s. It was way ahead of its time. And so, but it took a while. I mean, for the technology to get caught up and the support system to be caught up. So that's kind of the history, and it's really fascinating to go back and read some of those things. But the future, I mean, there's a belief that today it's artificial intelligence, but it's going to keep evolving to where, there's a famous test about whether you can determine whether we've reached the point where computers are as smart as humans. And that's when a human can't determine through engagement with this system whether it's a human or a machine. That's when it's reached this level of human level of intelligence. And so the thing that we're working with next, I'll just kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit here, is this thing called agentic AI. So if you think about, today you have this one massive model that kind of tries to do all problems. If you call most people that claim to have AI on their system, it's usually a front end conversational thing that's got the massive knowledge. And you can usually pretty easily start asking it about weather and hotel reservations and restaurant recommendations and things like that. And it'll bring that in because it knows about those things. And it's just kind of programmed to be able to talk about anything. Well, that's not good for a dealer. You don't want your AI system at your dealership really talking about spurious thing and offering advice outside of the domain of the dealership. That's actually a dangerous place to be. So you now break it up into smaller agents that are very capable of doing one function or another. So maybe like the parts agent. So if you need information about a particular part and how it's used in a vehicle, we would direct it to that particular agent whose domain is limited to those things around parts, right? And they can operate much faster, get to information much better. Likewise, if you're booking an appointment, there's an agent for that. So it's this network, if you will, of agents that work collaboratively with one another to be able to solve very specific customer problems. And that's really what you want to do. The problems are going to get more and more complex. Today, it can handle, more general product problems, but as you get into more and more specifics, my specific circumstances, you need more intelligent systems or more capable systems to be able to drive that conversation, whether it be through chat or web app or voice or whatever the case may be. The media really doesn't matter, but it's solving all these unique and individual problems.
You must have had a busy day, Dave, because your brain is going a million miles an hour.
He's on a roll.
Tonight.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right.
Wow.
It's all the coffee I've been drinking all day.
Yeah.
And
We
it's
fed
still
him
going.
way too much coffee today. No, I couldn't have said it better myself, Dave.
I love it. So bringing it back, for a dealership that's looking to get into to AI, what is the best starting point for them if they want to do it the right way? And what questions, should they ask when getting into this new realm for their students?
I think they need to first ask, what are the biggest problems I need to solve? And start to look at the solutions that solve those problems. If they're looking to solve human to human problems, there are some AIs that do better than others. If they're looking to solve human to technology problems, there are some that do better than others. It's technology and AI, or technology or AI, either way. But the first thing they have to do is sit down and say, what am I trying to solve for? And then not just kind of to Dave's point earlier on his LinkedIn post, don't just go chase the biggest AI out there. Don't go look for the biggest buzzwords. Find the partner that is solving your problems and ask them to back it up with data. If they can't back it up with data that they have solved your problem before, they're probably not the partner for you. They can do a great big shiny demo all day long, and we have conversational AI and we have this and we have that. But if they can't back it up with solving the same solution or solving the same issue with their solution for other dealerships, then they might not be the right one. And they're coming out so fast and so hard. Everybody's going after conversational. It's a wild space right now. So just focus on what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bogaski in the chat. Jeff, isn't it wonderful listening to Ashley talk about this? And Yeah, he's right. Coffee is for closers. So great friend of ours. And Scott Gregg is in the chat as well. Good evening, Scott. So very nice. Super. Well, guys, congratulations on everything that's happening at BLiNK AI. Exciting to see where this goes. I know you got a lot in store. Ashley, I didn't prep you for this one, but what do you think you guys are going to be talking about in the next roundtable? What kind of topic are you going to come at us with, or topics?
I have a sneaky idea, but I can't let that cat all the way out of the bag yet. But we do have a couple of dealer partners we're going to be bringing with us. I've been talking to, some OEM guys. So, we're going to be there, and I can't let that out of the bag yet, Ted. I'm sorry.
All right. Fantastic. And
You'll
Larry
be the
Sherman,
first
great
to
to
know,
see
Ted.
you. Go ahead,
What?
Dave. I'm sorry.
So you'll be the first to know.
Oh,
You will be the first to know. We really appreciate our relationship with the Fixed Ops Roundtable so much.
And
Well, we love our people at BLiNK AI, and
yeah,
thank you so much again for joining
Great job.
us, and
great job.
always insightful conversations with you too. You're the best.
Same here.
All right.
See you guys in Sri Lanka.
Keep an eye on them. Yes. And keep an eye on BLiNK AI. So they're making things happen in the industry. So thanks everybody for being with us tonight. We got a great show coming up on Wednesday. So only 3 more shows until the big Sri Lanka trip. Okay. So we got to get everything in before they leave. And
Girls, better behave and protect yourselves. Don't make me come out there.
aw.
We will. Thank you, Ashley.
Yep. Somehow I think they're guaranteed to get in some form of trouble, actually.
No, not allowed. Not approved.
All right. On behalf of Dave Perry and Ashley Norton, I'm Ted Ings. And on behalf of Katrina Ness and Vanessa Collins at Northwood University, we thank you for being with us tonight. And we'll see you on a Wednesday night. Got a great show in store for you then. See you then.
All right.